Have you ever wondered what the future of commercial flying looks like? Not just the future 5 or 10 years from now, but the kind that's already being assembled in secret hangars today. There's one aircraft making headlines before it even hits the skies. And no, it's not just another jet with a fancy paint job. It's Boeing's most ambitious move in years. It's called the Boeing 737 MAX 10, and it's not just an upgrade, it's a statement. A statement to the airline industry, a challenge to Airbus, and, let's be honest, a promise to passengers who are still watching Boeing very closely. So why is everyone talking about the MAX 10? And why now, when it won't even enter service until 2026? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this aircraft so special. And if you love airplanes, the history, the engineering, the strategy, you'll get something rare, a full insider's breakdown of the jet that could quietly reshape the skies. Let's dive in. There's something fascinating about the way aviation captures our attention. According to psychologists, humans are drawn to big, complex machines because they represent control, power, and advancement. Aircraft, especially modern ones, are engineering miracles, and the MAX 10 pushes that fascination to new levels. But to understand why the 737 MAX 10 matters so much, you first have to understand the context. Boeing's 737 family is the most successful jet program in history. Since the 1960s, over 10,000 units have been delivered. The design has evolved again and again, but the airframe's core DNA remains the same. When the 737 MAX series launched in 2011, it was Boeing's answer to the rising pressure from Airbus and its efficient A320neo family. Airlines needed jets that were faster, quieter, more fuel-efficient, and cheaper to operate. The MAX 8 and MAX 9 were Boeing's first entries in that race. Then came the crisis. You probably remember the grounding of the MAX series after 2 tragic crashes. It was a turning point, not just for Boeing's safety culture, but for how the public viewed the company. Trust was shaken. Confidence was lost. So when Boeing announced the MAX 10, it wasn't just another variant. It was a symbol, a make-or-break move. And that's where the psychology gets interesting. People want redemption stories. We root for comebacks, but only when there's proof of change. The MAX 10 is Boeing's proof. It shows that the company has learned, adapted, and pushed forward, without backing away from what made the 737 series iconic in the first place. But the MAX 10 isn't just a PR play. It's technically bold. It stretches the limits of the original 737 design, and that alone is why the aviation world is paying attention. Here's a key psychological insight. Aviation fans and insiders are especially sensitive to risk versus reward. They admire innovation, but only when it respects history and safety. The MAX 10 lives right at that intersection. It's longer, it carries more passengers, it uses smarter tech, but it does it all within the same narrow-body framework that pilots already know and that airlines already trust. With caution. There's another layer here, something more personal. Aviation lovers feel connected to aircraft in a unique way. It's not just about speed or size, it's about legacy. The 737 MAX 10 represents the latest chapter in a story that's been unfolding for over 50 years. For fans, that's more than engineering, that's emotional, and Boeing knows that. That's why the company has been slowly teasing details, deliberately building curiosity. From test aircraft spotted on runways to leaked order numbers from major airlines like United, the buzz isn't accidental. In fact, cognitive research shows that delayed rewards, like waiting for a 2026 release, heighten anticipation. This is called the endowment effect. People value things more when they feel they're getting early access or privileged information. And that's exactly the feeling Boeing is cultivating right now. You're not just hearing about a new plane. You're being let in on the future, early. And that's your reward for watching this video all the way through. Because what's coming next is even better. In just a moment, we're going to break down the actual design and specs of the MAX 10, the numbers, the changes, and the innovations that make this jet different from anything Boeing has done before. This is where it gets technical, but also where the admiration really begins. Stay with me, because if you think you've seen everything the 737 can do, the MAX 10 is about to surprise you. So what exactly makes the Boeing 737 MAX 10 different? Let's start with size. The MAX 10 is the largest 737 ever built. It stretches 143 feet and 8 inches from nose to tail. That's over 5 feet longer than the MAX 9. This extra length allows it to seat up to 230 passengers, depending on configuration. That pushes the limits of what a narrow-body jet can do, and it's no accident. Boeing knew that airlines were demanding more seats, not more aisles. They wanted to squeeze every bit of value from short and medium-haul routes. The MAX 10 is designed for that exact purpose, maximum capacity with minimal operating cost. But adding length comes with challenges. You can't just stretch a fuselage and call it a day. Longer aircraft need special handling, especially during takeoff and landing. That's where Boeing made one of its most clever innovations: the landing gear. To accommodate the extended body, Boeing developed a new levered landing gear design, a modified telescopic system that extends the main gear during takeoff, giving the plane better clearance. It's a mechanical solution to an aerodynamic problem. When the aircraft rotates for takeoff, it needs more room under the tail. This gear gives it that room, without redesigning the whole structure. And here's the brilliant part. Once the plane leaves the ground, the gear retracts back to the standard 737 configuration, preserving aerodynamics and fitting neatly into the same wheel well space. It's simple, elegant, and effective. Now let's talk about the engines. Like the rest of the MAX family, the MAX 10 uses the CFM LEAP 1 billion turbofan engines. These aren't just newer, they're smarter. The LEAP engines are built with advanced materials like ceramic matrix composites and carbon fiber fan blades, making them lighter and more heat-resistant. That means better fuel efficiency and lower emissions. For airlines, this translates into hard numbers, up to 14% better fuel burn compared to older 737 models. Over time, that kind of efficiency saves millions. And for passengers, it means quieter flights, thanks to improved acoustics and engine design. Now let's move to the wings. The MAX 10 keeps the signature split-tip winglets seen across the MAX lineup. These winglets are more than aesthetic, they're aerodynamic tools. By reducing drag at the wingtips, they boost fuel efficiency and enhance climb performance. That may not seem like a big deal to the average traveler, but to pilots and engineers, it's a major win. What about range? Here's where the MAX 10 shows its balance. Despite its larger size, the aircraft has a range of around 3,300 nautical miles. That's ideal for high-density routes, transcontinental flights, short international trips, and high-traffic domestic corridors. It won't fly from New York to Tokyo, but it's not meant to. The MAX 10 is about high-volume efficiency, not ultra-long-haul missions. Inside the cockpit, the aircraft stays true to Boeing's design philosophy. Instead of a complete overhaul, Boeing chose continuity. The flight deck is nearly identical to other MAX models. That's strategic. It reduces pilot retraining and keeps airline operations smooth. But behind the scenes, the tech has improved. The avionics are more capable. Flight management systems are smarter, and the integration of software updates reflects the hard lessons Boeing learned in recent years. Every line of code has been reviewed, refined, and rebuilt for safety and precision. One detail aviation fans appreciate is Boeing's choice to keep the mechanical feel of the controls. Unlike some newer Airbus cockpits that use side sticks and full automation, Boeing maintains a yoke and tactile connection between pilot and plane. It's not just nostalgia, it's about control, feedback, and philosophy. Now let's step inside the cabin. Although interior layout varies by airline, Boeing's sky interior is standard on the MAX 10. That means sculpted sidewalls, LED mood lighting, and redesigned overhead bins for better storage and space perception. Passengers won't just feel more comfortable, they'll feel like they're flying on a jet designed in this decade. Here's a psychological point that often goes unnoticed. The look and feel of a cabin directly affects how safe passengers feel. Bright, modern, well-lit interiors signal progress and reliability. This is especially important for the MAX series, given public memory of its past issues. Boeing knows that perception matters as much as performance. Every detail of the MAX 10 seems designed to say one thing: we've listened, we've improved, and we're ready. This isn't just engineering, it's reputation management through innovation. Aviation lovers appreciate when a jet isn't just functional, but when it tells a story. The MAX 10's story is one of transformation. From its advanced engines and unique gear system to its modern cabin and refined systems, every element shows an effort to push the 737 platform to its absolute limit, without breaking its identity. And that's what makes it different. It's still a 737 at heart, but it's a 737 evolved to meet a different world. A world where every drop of fuel matters, where capacity defines profit, and where trust has to be earned one flight at a time. This aircraft isn't just bigger, it's smarter, sharper, and built with something rare in modern aviation: humility backed by data. The 737 MAX 10 isn't promising to be perfect, it's promising to be better. And from what we've seen so far, that promise might actually be real. The design might impress, but design alone doesn't make a jet matter. What makes the Boeing 737 MAX 10 so significant is how it fits into the bigger picture: the strategy, the psychology, and the quiet war unfolding between the biggest names in aviation. To understand the weight of this aircraft, you have to start with a simple truth: Airlines are obsessed with efficiency. Every decision, every seat, every mile, every engine choice comes down to one thing: how much money can this airplane make per flight? The MAX 10 was built with that question in mind. With its higher seating capacity and upgraded systems, it offers airlines more passengers per trip without having to jump to a wide-body aircraft. And in aviation, more seats without higher fuel burn is pure gold. Psychologically, this plays into a concept known as cost-value perception. Passengers don't see operating costs, but airlines do. And when they see the numbers, they make decisions that ripple across the world. Routes open up, prices drop, new travel corridors are born. The MAX 10 is designed to create those ripples. Now place this aircraft on a chessboard, and across the board is Airbus. The Airbus A321XLR is already making headlines for its extended range and versatility. It's become the flagship of the single-aisle segment. Boeing couldn't afford to sit still. The MAX 10 is its strategic counter. A shorter range, yes, but a stronger play in high-capacity, high-frequency routes. This isn't just about specs, it's about positioning. Boeing is saying, you can take the long routes, we'll take the volume. That's a smart move, especially considering the state of global travel. Post-pandemic, short to mid-haul flights are booming. People want to travel, but they want flexibility. Airlines want fast turnarounds. Governments want lower emissions. The MAX 10 aligns with all of those trends. And here's where psychology comes in again. After the MAX 8 and MAX 9 disasters, public trust in Boeing fell sharply. The crashes weren't just tragedies, they were emotional turning points. Travelers suddenly knew the names of aircraft models. Aviation, for a brief time, entered the public's fear zone. Rebuilding that trust isn't about press releases, it's about proof. Aircraft that fly smoothly, flights that arrive on time, news cycles that stay quiet. The MAX 10 is Boeing's quiet campaign to win hearts back, one safe flight at a time. But it's not just about the flying public. Pilots and crew play a huge role in aircraft perception. One of Boeing's key strategies was maintaining cockpit continuity. By keeping the flight deck familiar across the MAX series, Boeing minimized retraining requirements for pilots. That's not just cost saving, it's trust building. When pilots feel confident in their equipment, that confidence trickles down. The entire flying experience feels smoother. Passengers notice, even if they don't understand why. Psychologists call this mirroring. We unconsciously reflect the emotional states of those around us. Calm, confident flight crews lead to calm, confident passengers. Then there's the matter of orders. Numbers don't lie. United Airlines has already placed over 200 orders for the MAX 10. That alone sends a signal. Other carriers, including Ryanair and Delta, have shown interest too. In an industry that depends on razor-thin margins, large-scale orders are never casual. They're calculated bets. Airlines are betting on this aircraft not just because it's bigger, but because it's balanced. It solves a very specific problem: how to carry more passengers without moving up to a more expensive category of aircraft. That's a design challenge that took Boeing years to solve. The result is a plane that fills the gap between the MAX 9 and wide-body jets like the 787. But perhaps the most important aspect of the MAX 10's impact is its timing. This aircraft is not being launched into a neutral world. It's entering at a time when aviation is under scrutiny. Sustainability matters more. Noise regulations are stricter. Carbon footprints are being measured at every level. The MAX 10 is Boeing's answer to these challenges. More efficient engines, less drag, reduced emissions, and a seat-per-mile efficiency that rivals anything on the market. Travelers may not read the data, but they feel the difference. Quieter engines, smoother takeoffs, modern interiors. These aren't luxuries, they're expectations. And meeting those expectations builds loyalty. In fact, human behavior studies show that consistency creates comfort. When passengers fly on aircraft that feel familiar, they're more likely to return to the same airline. The MAX 10 is built with that exact psychology in mind. It doesn't look radically different. It doesn't feel experimental. It feels like an upgrade to something you already trust. And that, in today's aviation market, is a powerful edge. Every new aircraft tells a story. Some are about speed, others about luxury. The MAX 10 tells a story of correction. It admits mistakes, not in words, but in design. It shows that safety is now central. That feedback was taken seriously. That progress can be built on top of failure, and that's why this jet matters. It's not just flying for Boeing's bottom line. It's flying for its legacy. For the thousands of engineers who rebuilt its systems, for the airlines betting their routes on it, and for the millions of passengers who will soon board it, some with hesitation, others with hope. Aviation isn't just about machines, it's about memory, trust, recovery. And the MAX 10, if it succeeds, could mark one of the greatest turnarounds in commercial jet history. The Boeing 737 MAX 10 isn't just an aircraft on paper anymore. It's a project in motion. And what happens next will determine not only its future, but a key chapter in Boeing's story. Right now, the aircraft is in the final stages of testing and certification. This process isn't just routine, it's exhaustive. Every system is pushed to its limits. Engines, hydraulics, software, even the smallest sensors, all are inspected under regulatory microscopes. After the scrutiny Boeing faced following the MAX 8 disasters, this is no longer just engineering. It's a public audit of trust. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, has made it clear there will be no shortcuts this time. Every new protocol, every checklist, must be completed, validated, and verified. That level of transparency may slow things down, but it also builds confidence. Because for passengers, peace of mind now starts on the ground, long before they ever step onto the aircraft. The MAX 10 is expected to enter commercial service in 2026, but make no mistake, airlines are already preparing. From training programs to simulator updates, flight crews and technicians are being briefed and prepped. Integration is key, because this isn't just another model. It's a jet meant to reshape scheduling, fleet structure, and network planning. United Airlines, one of the largest MAX 10 customers, has already signaled its strategy. Use this aircraft to optimize high-traffic domestic routes and open up new legs with stronger economics. Imagine routes that were once only viable with wide-body jets, now being served more efficiently, with faster turnarounds and higher frequency. That's the promise Boeing is delivering.
But success won't come automatically.
There are still hurdles. One of the biggest is public perception. Although aviation experts understand the differences between the MAX variants, many average travelers don't. For them, MAX still carries emotional baggage. Boeing knows this. Airlines know it too. Which is why communication is just as important as construction. Rebuilding confidence requires more than technical updates. It requires consistency, performance, and time. According to studies in behavioral science, repeated positive exposure helps erase past negative associations. Each uneventful flight, each on-time arrival, slowly rewires memory, one experience at a time. For Boeing, that means getting this aircraft into the air and keeping it there, without incident. Quiet success is the new goal. Behind the scenes, the company is also focusing on supplier relationships and production stability. The aerospace industry was hit hard by global supply chain disruptions, and Boeing hasn't been immune. Key components, especially engine parts, avionics systems, and landing gear assemblies, must now arrive on tighter schedules and higher quality standards. Even minor delays can ripple across entire production timelines. That's why Boeing is being cautious. The MAX 10 rollout will be gradual, not rushed. Analysts expect the first deliveries to be closely monitored, with real-time data collection from early operators helping Boeing tweak final adjustments. At the same time, the jet's entry into service aligns with growing environmental pressure. Governments are pushing for cleaner skies. The aviation industry is under scrutiny for its carbon footprint. And passengers, especially younger generations, are beginning to make travel choices based on sustainability metrics. The MAX 10 is Boeing's response. Its fuel-efficient LEAP 1 billion engines, lower emissions, and optimized aerodynamics all contribute to a reduced environmental impact. In fact, some operators have already committed to using sustainable aviation fuel SAF on future MAX routes. That's more than a trend, it's a transition. A cleaner, quieter aircraft means more access to noise-sensitive airports, more community support for route expansion, and more leverage in regulatory discussions. It's not just a better jet, it's a smarter business tool. Meanwhile, Airbus isn't standing still. The A321XLR, with its longer range and growing airline interest, continues to raise the bar. But the MAX 10 doesn't need to beat it at every metric. It just needs to win in the areas it was built for: high capacity, mid-range routes, and unbeatable seat economics. It's a calculated niche, and Boeing is betting that this niche is big enough to matter. From a psychological standpoint, that's a smart play. Humans are naturally drawn to clear identities. We trust things that don't try to be everything. The MAX 10 knows its role and plays it with precision. That clarity resonates not just with airlines, but with the public. This isn't a jack-of-all-trades aircraft, it's a master of one. As 2026 approaches, the attention will only grow. Every new test flight, every pilot review, every delivery update will be dissected across aviation forums, news outlets, and YouTube channels. For enthusiasts, it's a front-row seat to one of the most closely watched aircraft launches in modern history. And for Boeing, it's a rare second chance. This isn't just about performance, it's about presence. About proving that the company can innovate under pressure, correct its course, and still lead. If the MAX 10 delivers what it promises, efficiency, reliability, and range without compromise, it won't just fill seats. It will restore faith in a brand that once defined commercial aviation. And in a world where travelers want more than just a ride from point A to B, where they expect safety, comfort, and environmental responsibility, the MAX 10 could quietly become the aircraft of choice. Not because it's flashy, but because it works. That's what comes next. Not headlines, not hype. Just a jet doing exactly what it was built to do. And if Boeing gets that right, the skies ahead may finally be clear.